my name is Kelly Dale with Off the Beaded Path, and this is your Must Know Monday for Monday, April the 30th. So last week I showed you the slender pendant centerline components. This week I'm going to show you a 47 by 13 millimeter 5-row link. Now, it's called a 5-row link because 5 11-0 Delicas will fit on every row. There are 23 holes along the top side of your piece to do your bead work with. Today, for the video, I'm going to be using, of course, size 11 Delicas. For my specific project, I'm going to use 2 colors. You're going to need just about 2 grams of each color, not a whole lot. I'm going to be using a size 10 or a 12 needle, but this is the thing that's different from last week. This week, I'm going to be using the 10-pound Fireline. I have found that anything under this shreds really easily. The first one of these I made, I actually broke my 1G thread like 4 or 6 times. Like, it was insane. So then I switched over to Fireline, and I noticed that the thinner Fireline got shredded really easy. But if I used the bigger version of the Fireline, like the 10-pound, it worked a lot better. So that's what I'm going to be using today. Otherwise, the only other things you're going to need are things to just finish off the link with. So let me go ahead and show you the component that I'm going to be using today and some samples so you'll have a better idea of what we're doing. So here is the link that I'm going to be using today. You can see that it has a hole on each side, and that's to make your bracelet or whatever you're going to use it for. And then it has 23 holes along each side. Now, I'll go ahead and tell you that I actually inquired to the Beadsmith company because their components for these, if you see here, it's got 1 hole and then a space and then your holes here. Now, it's not like this here on this row. So I was told that the reason that's there is to help accommodate all the beads to be able to fit into this this little component open hole. And they said that they are considering changes, but right now most of the components are just like what I've showed you. So I've gone ahead and I've made one sample here, and with this one I have used the micro suede cord and just looped it through and added a clasp to it. So it's a really easy, simple thing to do. The other thing I've done is on this bracelet I've actually used chains so that way you could see, and on this one I've just done a repeating pattern of 2 colors of size 11 Delicas. This one I've done like a zigzag pattern from one of my carrier beads, and did those 2 colors as well. So today I'm going to use 2 colors again. I'm going to be using an A and a B. This is going to be the silver lined sapphire, and this is a white opal. So anywhere you see the A's here, the blue, that's going to be the dark blue. Anywhere you see the pink and the B's, that's going to be my white. Now I've made this using the bead tool software, so that way it kind of gives you an idea. We're going to basically start similar to what we did last week. So let me kind of zoom in just a little bit here. So you can start, if it helps, you can start here on the end, and you're going to come up through this end hole. And again, if you're right-handed, you can start on, or left-handed, you can start on the other side. But I'm leaving a long enough tail that I can literally hold on to it. If you can see here, I can hold on to this tail thread and work. So I'm going to start here and I'm going to work upward. So I'm starting in the bottom corner. So if I hold it like this, I'm going to pick up an A, a B, an A, and an A. So A, B, A. Okay, I'm going to come across to the same hole on the other side, and I'm going to go down through that hole. When you pull it, this is what your piece will look like. Okay. Now, with my piece like this, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the needle and I'm going to come up through the center of my piece. I'm going to go back through the 5 beads again. I'm going to hold them in place and pull this needle straight out. Now at this point, I have a thread here on the top, but I don't have a thread on the back of where I begin. So I'm going to take and I'm going to come through this center of the component again, and then I'm going to come back up through this same hole so that it looks like this. I'm going to go through the 5 again, through the hole at the top, and then through the center again. And I'm going to go through all 5 of my beads. Now by this point, this should be tight and it should be a little bit harder to get in. This, having the threads on each side, is going to help you be able to keep this row straight and all those beads tight together, so that if you do a pattern like I'm doing here, which of course you don't have to, but if you do a pattern, it will work out better for you. Now I've come through that center, and I'm just going to take the tail thread and my working thread now, and I'm going to tie these 2 threads together. And if you want, if the tail gets in your way, you can go ahead and get rid of the tail, you know, stitch it through, whatever you want to do. Completely up to you, but I am going to just tie that really tight. Okay, I'm going to zoom in here a little bit so you can see. There we go. Okay. Now, I'm going to take the needle and I'm going to come up through the next hole, the very next hole here on the back. Get that little tail out of the way so that this is what I've got so far. All right, so if I'm like this, my next row here is the same, A, A, B, A, A. And again, you don't have to do a pattern. I just like to do patterns with these. You can make up your own. These are super, super easy to make up on your own. Okay, so I'm going to come across and come down through the hole here on the other side. I'm going to come up through the center and come back through those 5 beads again. Holding those in place. I'm going to go down through the center here and then up through this hole again. I'm going to go across through the 5 and then down. Now this time I'm going to come up through the hole on this side. So what will happen is every other one you'll have a thread here, then a thread here. It zigzags. Your threads will zigzag so that you don't see you know, any thread actually here along the center where you're doing it, but you will see little pieces of thread here on the back. So this is where you really have to pay attention if you're doing a pattern, because this time in starting on this side, I will be starting on this side. So thankfully for me, these rows really don't matter here for what I'm doing. So again, I'm going to do my A, B, A, and I'm going to come down through the hole on the other side. Pull it through. I'm going to stick the needle up through here, and I'm going to go through all 5 again. Hold those in place. Pull that through the center there, just to get it out of my way. I'm going to come up through the hole, and then through these beads again. So once I go down through my hole here, then this time I'm going to go through the hole on the other side, the right next one. So that again, you can see now that the row before I did here, this row I'm doing here. Now you can see that these look like they are not straight, and that's because they're not. But the more you get those beads in there, the more it's going to help those rows to stay straight, because by the time you get it done, it is going to be full. Okay, so I'm working on the 4th row, so it's going to be, and I'm going to start on this right hand side, so it's A, B, A, B, A. So A, B, A, B, A. I'm going to do this one more time for you. So I'm going to come down through the hole on the left side. Okay. I'm going to come up through the center and through all 5 beads again. Hold those in place. Pull that thread straight out. I'm going to go through the center, and the point is you want a thread on each side of your component holding these beads into place. Okay, now I'm going to go down through this side, and then I'll come up through the next hole. And then I will be ready to continue on stitching on my links. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to kind of leave this out here for you for just a minute so that you can see the pattern that I've done here, and you can screenshot it or whatever you want, so that if you want to follow my pattern, you can follow using now this. That I have all my beads in place, I'm ready to finish up. So you can do that in 2 ways. One way is to actually do a knot just like you normally would, where we go under the thread, leave a loop, and then pull that thread. That is one way. The other way that you can do it is just to stitch through and start reinforcing back with your threads. And it's just a matter of taking your time and doing it, because it's going to be kind of hard to get into some of these spaces. And so, you know, you can just take and start working back the other direction, just going through. There's not a need to have to, you know, go up and down, you know, because you've already done that. So you can just stitch through. And like I said, it'll be a little hard to get through because you've got these really nice and tight in here. But if you can just get some through, well, mine is being very ornery today here. Okay, well, I'm going to have to work on that. But anyways, so that is how I will do that. And then I went ahead and I snipped my knot here. Now you can put a dab of glue on here if you want to, completely up to you, or you can stitch back through like I did and then snip your knot. But again, this would be your finished piece here. And then, like I said, these are just some samples of some things that you can do to finish off your bracelets. So I hope you enjoyed learning how to use these 5-row center line components. We do have the components in the same finishes as last week, silver, gold, and rose gold on our website, which is offthebeadedpathbeadstore.com. Now, next week, I'm going to be showing you an actual bangle. It's got a smaller size center to it, so where it's not as wide. And this one fits really, really nicely on the wrist. So again, it's like simple, but with beadwork. So that's really awesome. So again, you can find all of these on our website. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a free PDF that you can download on my website that will have some of the patterns that I used to do these center line components that I showed you today. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again next week as we do the first Must Know Monday of May. Bye-bye.